Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on Edward III, and today we get to hear from Prince Edward in Act 4, Scene 9, which, oh my goodness, we just finished Act 4, Scene 5 yesterday. And this is pretty typical for a Shakespeare play. I mean, this was part of the Apocrypha, but maybe they've decided that Shakespeare did actually write it or wrote enough of it. But we're in a war, so he has a whole bunch of little bitty scenes back to back, so that you get sort of the opposing sides of what's happening on the battlefield and in different places on the battlefield. And that's what happens between 4-5 and 4-9. So 4-4, we had Prince Edward surrounded by the French, and the French were feeling good about things, and Prince Edward was still trying to be optimistic. And then in 4-5, we find out that the French are actually not doing so well, because, you know, the sky is looking dark, and then these ravens spooked everybody, and all of this. But King John is still being optimistic about their chances in all of this. So in Act 4, Scene 6, we're back on the English side of the battlefield, and we have Artois and Prince Edward talking that, like, the English seem to be doing fairly well, but they're running out of arrows. And Artois is like, you know, these ravens, they're confused by these ravens. If we could just, like, get some more arrows back into our quivers while they're distracted by the ravens. And Prince Edward is like, if they're scared of ravens, we can absolutely win this. Like, come on, let's go. And that's Act 4, Scene 6. And then in Act 4, Scene 7, we're back over with the French, and we have King John starting to get concerned that things aren't going very well. And then Charles runs in and is like, our men are killing each other because they don't know what to do, and half of them want to run away, and then the other half are killing the ones that want to run away. And then Philip runs in with even more dire news, and he's like, we're losing so badly, and we had so many men and they had so few. How is this happening? And King John is like, y'all have the wrong attitude about this. We can totally still win. Come on, we are the French. Let's go. And that's the end of Act 4, Scene 7. And then Act 4, Scene 8 is just, it's really short, and there's a couple of squires who find a very badly wounded Audley on the battlefield, and they rescue him, and he's like, please take me to King Edward. And that's Act 4, Scene 8. So for today's monologue, we're in Act 4, Scene 9, at which point King John and Charles, the Duke of Normandy, have been captured by the English, and they've been brought in front of Prince Edward, and he's like, so y'all gave me a horse to run away on. Do you maybe want to reconsider some of that given your current circumstances? And King John is like, yeah, you were lucky. It's not that you're good, it's that you were lucky. And Prince Edward says, an argument that heaven aids the right. See, Artois doth bring with him along the late good counsel giver to my soul. Welcome, Artois, and welcome, Philip, too. Who now of you or I have need to pray? Now is the proverb verified in you, too bright a morning breeds a lowering day. But say, what grim discouragement comes here? Alas, what 1,000 armed men of France have writ that note of death in Audley's face? Speak, thou that wooest death with thy careless smile, and looked so merrily upon thy grave, as if thou wert enamoured on thine end. What hungry sword hath so bereaved thy face, and lopped a true friend from my loving soul? So he starts out being kind of snotty, because remember, you know, when Charles sent a horse for Prince Edward to be able to ride away, Philip sent a prayer book so that he could pray for help. So, and now that Philip has been taken prisoner by Edward, he's like, so who is it that needs the prayer book? Is it me? No, I don't think it's me that really needs the prayer book now. I'm going to say that maybe it's you, and this whole prophecy thing that's been going on saying that the French were going to lose. I mean, maybe we just proved that whole thing here. But then there's a sound of trumpets, and the two squires bring in Audley, who's very badly injured, and Prince Edward is kind of freaked out because, you know, this is his friend Audley, and he looks like he's about to die. He's like, what happened? What on earth happened here? And Audley's like, it doesn't matter, I'm about to die. And Prince Edward's like, no, you can't die. And if you live, I will give you 3,000 pounds a year, or ducats, I forget which currency they decided to use in this play, but some massive sum of money for the time. He's like, I'm going to give that to you every year if you survive this. And Audley's like, no, 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 give it to these two guys, because these two guys are the ones that saved me. So make sure that that's written down in my will, that anything that was supposed to go to me goes to these guys. And Prince Edward is like, no, you are not dying. I'll reward those guys, but you're going to live, and I'm going to double the amount of money that I'm going to give you if you live. So come on, everybody, help me get him somewhere comfortable so that he can rest and recuperate. And then they all leave to go do that. And that's the end of Act 4, Scene 9, and also the end of Act 4. So tomorrow we're going to dig into Act 5. There's only one scene in Act 5, so we are getting dangerously close to the end, and I think there's only about 4 monologues left to go after today. So, gotta wrap the whole thing up. But just wondering, who had their money on the English? Who had their money on the French? Leave a note in the comments, and I'll see you tomorrow for Act 5. Mwah.